What's up guys? I'm never quite sure how to start out these videos, so I think in this one I'll start out by something I noticed is a lot of people have been like shouting me out in videos, but most of them don't know how to pronounce my name. So just to clarify that, it's pronounced Nizza, like pizza. It's Sicilian, and I've been explaining it that way since I was 5 years old, so don't feel embarrassed. And so this video is going to cover, as the title says, traveling with panic disorder, and specifically my experiences with panic disorder on my trip to Cambodia. So the first thing that I could think of chronologically was while I was on the plane ride. You see, I took my lorazepam at the very beginning of the flight because for the first 2 hours after I take lorazepam, I feel like I've had a lobotomy and I just can't think straight. So I tried to get it, out of the way, first thing, and it made me feel kind of claustrophobic. Because you see, I haven't traveled since I've been, having panic attacks, so I wasn't sure how I was going to react. And it kind of sucked because both of my flights, I went through China Eastern, and both of them were 2 hours late. I think the second one, my connecting flight from Shanghai to Siem Reap, was like 3 hours late, and I was afraid I was going to lose my hotel. I was actually asking the flight attendants, like, when is this flight going to get there? I'm concerned about my hotel, and I was concerned because of the situation whenever I was in Sapporo, and I could have potentially lost my hotel if I did not show up before midnight, but thankfully that was not an issue. I got to Siem Reap 2 hours late, but my driver had been there for 2 hours waiting for me. He had my name printed out and everything. And the hotel, the entire time I was there, I guess I'll give it a plug. It was a very good hotel. It's called De Salon Inn, or Suites. If you go to Siem Reap, I'm not sure if I'm sure there's better hotels, but I had a good experience with this one, so I'm just going to give it a plug. So if you're going to stay in Siem Reap, I recommend it. It's really close to Pub Street and Old Market and all the rest of downtown, so have at it. But they are all very accommodating. They had beer in my room whenever I got there. There was 4 things of water because I don't trust Cambodia's water. Nothing against Cambodia. It's a cool country, but that's something, a country can't always control. They even let me eat my breakfast like at 1 in the afternoon. And that's very cool. And they supplied tuk-tuk drivers. A tuk-tuk, it's like a bot bus in Thailand, except it's in Cambodia, and it's a little bit different. It's basically a motorbike with a horse carriage on the back. That's the best way I can describe it. And you think it'd feel unsafe, but the drivers there, even though they don't follow like the safety rules of the road, I don't think the safety rules even exist. But you feel safe because they are very attentive and they are very skilled at driving those damn things. And it's what they do all the time. The tuk-tuk driver, a couple of tuk-tuk drivers I took, they were working every single day. I felt kind of bad for them. I even went out to dinner and hung out at a couple bars with one of them. He's actually a really cool dude. Because that's what they do there. They drive their tuk-tuks and drink beer. And that's something else about Cambodia. That is like an alcohol extreme. There is beer everywhere. I mean, in between bars, there's like little stands with orange buckets selling beer, so it is a party central. But anyway, as far as anxiety goes, whenever I was on the tuk-tuk, because I didn't have a sense of control because and the wind was blowing in my face, and I just wasn't used to the heat anymore, which is funny because I'm from Florida, but I cannot handle heat. And on the first day, I got on one right after I took my medication, so yeah, it was not a good situation. But I made it through. And I got to the first big temple. I believe it's called Angkor Wat. I believe it's one of the biggest temples in the world. And while I was there, I was loving it. It's beautiful, and I was taking really good pictures, really good videos. But I was a little dehydrated, and I had a heart palpitation, and that made me panic a little bit. So I had to get out of the temple. Thankfully, I saw the entire temple first, but then I drank a couple of big bottles of water, and I felt fine. So I was able to go on to the next temple, which is Bayon, which is the second most popular temple in Cambodia. It's one of the 2 big ones. So thankfully I was able to get my fill of culture, because that's the main draw of Cambodia is the temples. And there's a bunch of minor ones, but I saw the 2 major ones, so I count that as a success. And the funny thing, before I went out to Pub Street, which is the nightlife area, Pub Street and the night market, I got all stressed about my sleep apnea, and I was convinced that I had brain damage from it. Because I was reading all this stuff on WebMD, because I figured out with my anxiety, if I do not have anything to be anxious about, my anxiety will find stress for me. So I've had to learn whenever I have those, instances to, rationalize them with logic, the logic of understanding my disorder. And besides, after waking up the next morning, I realized I had just been jet lagged anyways. While I was there, I lowered my dosage of lorazepam, which was actually recommended by my doctor beforehand, but I didn't really want to. But I lowered it from 0.5 milligrams 3 times a day to 0.5 milligrams twice a day, so it's 1 milligram per day. And it made me a little bit less paranoid about blacking out from drinking, because, you know, I'm on vacation, I want to drink, you know, especially in a country like Cambodia. And now for my review of Pub Street as somebody with panic disorder. That place, it's very fun, but it is so overwhelming and claustrophobic because there's like 4 big ass clubs blaring like different songs, so it's like the sound of chaos. Because, you know, I like clubs, but I also like to be able to leave clubs. I love music, but, you know, I need to be able to focus my mind on one frequency. And the problem is because they were celebrating Christmas and New Year's, so Pub Street itself was completely packed with a throng of people, and there was like no slow way to get out of there. That just made me even more anxious. So I ended up, I skipped out of that area and hung out in the quieter areas, and hung out with a bunch of expatriates. And it was funny because I'm always so paranoid about my drinking, and then whenever I drink with other expatriates, I found out that there's people that are perfectly healthy that drink way more than I do. And it's kind of funny how I'm the one that's worried about it. Another thing, I felt the need to keep on guard. Even though Cambodia is a relatively safe country, there's a bunch, like there's the tuk-tuk drivers and there's not very much street rules. So whenever you're crossing the street, you know, there's no crosswalks, so you have to be cautious. And I didn't feel comfortable getting drunk in a place like that, so I kept myself, you know, at a buzzed state to keep everything safe. While I was drinking with my fellow expatriates, I was feeling a lot of talk anxiety, which is kind of weird. It's like whenever I'm talking to somebody, like specifically when I'm talking, I start to feel kind of lightheaded, and I'm afraid, like, it's like I'm going to disappear type of feeling, or like, not like I'm going to pass out necessarily. It's the same thing whenever I'm paying attention to somebody else. What I do is I actually use that to cause myself to get really alert so that I feel more awake, and I know I'm alert whenever the colors around me get brighter. It's kind of a weird thing. It's all anxiety though. Anxiety has all forms of anxiety have a lot of similar symptoms. And the last thing, because this video is getting kind of long, but I was really proud of myself as I was coming back because I didn't have any actual panic attacks other than that slight panic attack while I was at Angkor Wat. But on the plane ride back, as I was touching down in Tokyo, there was a good amount of turbulence. Like, there was enough turbulence that the plane actually dropped a few feet. And I thought, and my mind's first thought was, oh God, we're going into an uncontrolled dive. And I started freaking out. My heart started racing. Like, I started panicking. But within 20 seconds, I stopped the panic attack by closing my eyes and just telling myself, embrace it, embrace it. Don't let it win, embrace it. This is a test, just take it. And I figured out the best way to stop a panic attack is not to ignore it or give into it, but to like antagonize it, like try to piss your panic attack off. And like once it understands it can't win, that's when you win. And so in 20 seconds, I was relaxed, my heart was perfectly calm, and it was funny because I was looking around. Everyone else on the plane was perfectly calm despite the turbulence. It was just me freaking out. So I thought that was kind of funny. But I think that's enough for this video. So as always, if you like my video, subscribe. If you like my music, buy it. And if you hate me, tell everybody. Out.
Pizzaboynizza. 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 Pizzaboynizza.